Hi, this is Sol from heartknowing.co.uk. In today's podcast, I'd like to talk to you about developing sensitivity and the reason why it's important to develop sensitivity. Now, when we think about sensitive people, we think that these are people who have got a thin skin, feel too much, and basically are not able to take other people's criticisms, or when other people are being perhaps rude to them, or when other people are being or acting in such a way that it can cause pain or hurt on an emotional level, that these individuals tend to express what their experience is of that behavior. So we kind of put away highly sensitive people as almost people that are not able to kind of deal with what life kind of throws at them. So I hope in today's podcast I'll surprise you and to see actually the positive benefits of being a highly sensitive person and what you can actually start doing today in developing the traits of being a highly sensitive individual. Okay, so I'm going to first of all kind of talk about the benefits of being a highly sensitive individual. I mean, one of the kind of prominent key aspects of being a highly sensitive individual is having that ability to look at life in on various levels, but in a very detailed fashion. So it's kind of being able to notice the subtle nuances in shades of color, in clothing, in foods, in tastes, in sounds, in music, how people are communicating with each other, or how are they moving. It's being able to pick up a lot of information around, in one's environment, direct environment. Okay, so normally people that are kind of sensitive, they kind of are able to pick up a lot of information, a lot of detail in their surroundings. Okay. So being able to kind of observe and pick up more information as being one key benefit. The other trait of a highly sensitive individual also includes the ability to be aware of nuances in meaning, or even being kind of a little bit cautious as taking actions or making choices. And when I say the word being cautious, I'm not saying that people who are sensitive don't take actions or procrastinate or take time to take actions. It's more that when they're making a choice, they're trying to see from as many points of view as possible, so that then the choice that's actually made is a choice that comes from lots of information, lots of heart-knowing insights as well. So a high trait, one of the key traits in being a sensitive person is being able to be aware of all these very subtle nuances. The other thing is being aware of one's emotional state or being. We all know this, that society generally doesn't acknowledge the reality of feelings. We all feel. Every human being on this planet feels, but how often we're not really quite aware of how we might feel about a certain situation, an event, or in an individual, and it takes time for us to kind of get to the root of understanding or experiencing what our true feelings actually are. So one other kind of key trait of an of a sensitive individual is having a massive emotional awareness. So yes, by being sensitive, you do become aware to very high emotional states. But you also, that when somebody does say something to you, perhaps in a rude way, or when somebody does do something which, even say, for example, in the physical situation, or even when you're in a group where the remarks can be a bit covert, even, that you would pick up on people's kind of intention and their energy behind the words that they're talking about, and that too can be felt. So your sensitivity becomes such that you can sense the intentions of what people say and the energy that carries behind it. You're working on a level where words are not the only thing that you kind of pick up when people speak. You're also picking up on the energy, on the kind of the framework, the consciousness from which it comes from. So if somebody says a remark and beneath it there is their intention to cause pain, or to put you down, you'll pick up on that. But by being a sensitive individual, just because you can pick up on those energies doesn't mean that that's the only range within your experience of being of experiencing sensitivity. As I continue, you will see that there's a lot more kind of experience in being a sensitive human being. Now, creativity. Sensitive people are immensely creative individuals. It's almost like yes, that when you kind of tap into the stream of becoming a sensitive human being, you at the same time begin to access your creative space. It's like both of these states of mind or states of being coexist together. That getting in touch with your sensitivity means also being able to get in touch with your creativity. That's something to really kind of think about, and as a real positive benefit to developing sensitivity. The other thing is being able to really feel what other people are feeling. So high sensitivity to other people's emotions can be a real powerful tool, asset for teachers, for managers, for therapists, and also parents as well. There are times when as a parent you want to kind of understand where your children are at. When you're in a role where you've got employees working for you, then you also want to kind of understand where they are coming from. So being able to kind of step into other people's shoes, or to kind of get in touch with what they're actually feeling, is an aspect of being sensitive. So one of the things why people kind of stay away from developing this sensitivity is because, I'll just share with you my experience. I think that's probably the best way. So I realized at the age of 24 that I was a highly sensitive individual. I didn't actually know before that. And what used to happen is that I would go into, say, for example, a room where there would be lots of different people, and it would be really overwhelming. It would feel like my whole kind of sensory apparatus got basically overstimulated with the amount of information that I was picking up on in a room. And it was only through kind of researching and trying to understand what was going on within me that I realized that what was happening was that it's almost like being a radio receiver, and instead of tuning into one channel, you're tuning into all the different channels at the same time, and that could be a really quite an overwhelming experience. So one thing that kind of stood out was somebody had said, sometimes you have to be clear about what you're experiencing as being your own, or what you might be experiencing that's actually somebody else's emotional experience. And that really helped me massively, because what I began to then do is that, yes, I would still pick up all the information, but I was able to begin to separate and kind of say, well, if I'm feeling this experience of confusion, it's not necessarily my confusion. And by saying this, I'm not saying that one dissociates and says that everything that one is experiencing is somebody else's. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is being able to kind of develop an inner listening to really know when what you're feeling is actually your own emotional state, rather than the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings, the energy that you might be actually picking up from other people. So that helped me a lot to kind of begin to kind of have that separation between understanding what is my own and what is actually others. In my previous podcast, I talked about finding 60 seconds to pause each day. The real kind of powerful thing about that very simple exercise that I gave in my previous podcast is that you can actually practice this more times. So, for example, ideally, if you can do it once a day for the next 30 days, that's absolutely brilliant. What you can also do is that you can bring 60 seconds more often throughout the day. So, for example, you might have 60 seconds when you open the door to go out to work. You stand and pause and look around just for 60 seconds and just take notice of what you're seeing around you. If you rush out of the door, you can take the 60 seconds in the car. So after shutting the door, sitting in the car seat, you can pause for 60 seconds and just get back into being connected with your body, becoming more present, and just taking notice of what is going on around you, just for 60 seconds. You could take 60 seconds before having your lunch food, or your dinner, or your breakfast. So you put the food out on the plate and put the plate on the table, and then for 60 seconds you just pause, looking at all the colors of the food, smelling the scent, like becoming really present to the scent of the food. And then after the 60 seconds has passed, when you take your first spoonful, you taste it, you savor it with full awareness. That's a subtle way of developing sensitivity. If you're out in nature, or if you've got a vase with some really beautiful flowers in them, you could look at the flowers, or look at a tree, or look at, say, a bird, some geese on a lake, or some ducks on a lake for 60 seconds, and really trying to sponge and absorb as much information. Noticing if you're thinking about this or that, and trying to slow down the thinking, but coming back into the moment so that you can give full attention towards what you're looking at. So that when you're looking at wherever you're looking, or listening to wherever you're listening to, or eating whatever you're eating, that you're doing it with full awareness. So the key thing is, this is what's really insightful, is that in developing sensitivity, we are developing also our presence. And the number one secret to developing sensitivity is the practice of meditation. Meditation helps us to be able to become highly sensitive individuals, being able to see auras, be able to empathize, being able to respond to life from heart knowing, being able to understand, being able to be highly creative, being able to sense and pick up lots of information around us. Yes, just from this powerful practice called meditation. Now, as you know, I don't prescribe a specific meditation. I believe that, we are to find the meditation practice that is right for us. But I think wherever tradition you're from, be it Islamic, Buddhist, Christian, Jewish, pagan, go deep into it. Let it become a regular practice. Let it be consistent. Let it become something that you have like food or have a wash every day, that you and it become one. And then through that practice, all these kind of powerful benefits will become available to you. So I'm really grateful that you took the time out of your schedule to listen to today's podcast. If you're listening to this on YouTube, feel free to subscribe so you can be updated of more podcasts by me, Sol, from heartknowing.co.uk. If you're listening to this on iTunes, again, please subscribe. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, please leave a review. That would be really awesome. And if you're listening to this on my website and you're here for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter. There should be a form underneath this podcast. Subscribe to the newsletter, where I'll share with you information like this to help you to deepen your meditation practice, and also to share all the things that I've learned so that you can find infinite ways to be more happy in your life. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's podcast from me, Sol, from heartknowing.co.uk.